Hi, I'm William Hatfield. I write action, adventure, science fiction, and very quirky, humorous fiction based in Key West with a murder slash mystery twist to it. Also, a very strong LGBTQ theme since two of the three main characters are young ladies that resolve the fact that no, they're not just in love. Yes, they're gay and in love with each other. Um, I moved down from Michigan. I was born and raised in Michigan. I didn't grow up there because, well, I don't think I've ever actually grown up. But I moved down here in '79. So I've lived here for 42 years. And here being Gainesville, Florida. Looking outside, it looks like Florida. If you walk outside, it doesn't feel like Florida because it's mid January. And oddly enough, it's getting down in the 30s every night this week. And it feels like it's getting down in the 30s every night this week. And I'm from Michigan, and I'm almost immune to that stuff. So anyway, here I am, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about me. I moved down here on a music gig. I was a professional musician for decades. I earned my way through college working primarily in bookstores and doing gigs. Early on, I did whatever else I could do because I paid most of my own way through college, and three jobs at a time was fairly average for me in college. One of those jobs, fortunately, was being either resident advisor or assistant director of a dorm. So it definitely helped with the old room and board. And the dorm was a international students dorm, so it gave me a great window into other cultures. And to this day, I think one of the best aspects of my college career, other than learning that Cat Stevens existed and Moody Blues, was working in that international student dorm and getting to meet people from all over the world. And having a Japanese roommate, we were Japan Central, and back in the mid '70s for about 2 years there. Our dorm room was where all six Japanese students that were going to school at Western Michigan at the time would congregate every weekend. So anyway, I write action, adventure, science fiction. As I said, I have a series. It's a first contact with aliens. It's called the series is called Fists of Earth because the main character is a martial arts movie star. He's on board a cruise ship with his cast and crew, and they're all martial artists as well. Filming the last scenes of his next blockbuster um, movie that he's producing at the moment and starring in, of course. And the cruise ship also is getting sold at the end of the cruise to a Japanese corporation. So it's a joint 50% American, 50% Japanese crew. There's a Wall Street lawyer on board, Kimberly Martin, overseeing the sale and making sure everything flows smoothly. And she and Jim, the martial artist movie star, develop a bit of a relationship, you could say. Although they're fighting it because it's quite a culture clash thing. Wall Street versus Hollywood mentalities, and then you've got half Japanese versus half aliens. They're not getting along. And then, of course, when the aliens take the entire cruise ship with everybody on board, you've got humans versus those critters from outer space, and things get tricky. I call it my inverted culture clash novel experience, and that's the first book in the series. The second book in the series, some of them they've gotten control of their immediate environment by the end of the first book. In the second book, some of them actually go back to Earth. Some stay out in space at a crossroads space station that is a like a hub of commercial activity for that sector of the galaxy. And they're trying to deal with, okay, what do we do when we get back to Earth? There's going to be aliens coming. We've got to inoculate the Earth somehow. But at the same time, we don't want to get snatched by the FBI and never be seen again, or by the Israelis, or by the Chinese, or by the Russians, or anyone else. And we don't want to get hauled away when we say we were kidnapped by aliens. Seriously, seriously. They don't really want to spend their time in a mental hospital either. So anyway, the second book, Dual Roles, is there dealing with that aspect of it. The third book in the series, there's going to be nine, by the way. I like to call it my 9-part trilogy. because it really annoys certain friends of mine. Yes, I know what a trilogy is. Um, but the third book will be called Tough Crowd, and it's got kind of a cool cover. It's the aliens do follow the humans back to Earth, and a fairly difficult day is had by all. Um, I have theatrical titles to all 9 books, or will have when I've written them all, um, because the main character is a martial arts movie star, and it just seemed like a clever idea at the beginning of the series. And momentum being what it is, and it seems to be working, I'm sticking with it. So that's my science fiction series, which I'm commemorating by wearing a Serenity t-shirt today. Um, and then I'm wearing something fairly bright and flowery, just in honor of the fact that I write a series based in Key West. First book in the series, the main characters are all kind of adjusting to living in a tourist trap like Key West. They're all new. They're newbies to the area, and they didn't come down with jobs, places to live, much in the way of deep pockets, no deep pockets actually, and find that doing that in a tourist trap is not the best way for a comfortable lifestyle. But they're getting by, and there's a murder in the neighborhood, and there are both suspects and possible future victims of the murderer as the book goes on, but they're instrumental in solving the case. A lot of humor. You will occasionally laugh out loud while reading the books in this series, so don't read them in church. They're probably not that appropriate for reading in church anyway. But my second book, I put them through their first really serious hurricane season. Had I waited 2 years, I could have put them through Irma, but I actually wrote this 2 years before Irma hit. So, and yes, that is a jet ski on the roof. And there's a serial killer in there just to kind of spice the book up a little bit. Third book, Nathan, the straight guy who lives with the 2 young ladies, he gets a gig at a very exclusive, inclusive resort in Mexico, where the dress code is extremely nudista. Now I'll let you do the Google search on what that word is. Sounds a lot like the English word. But when you go to a resort that it's a very expensive resort that only people like Miley Cyrus would go to for a week away from paparazzi and linens and textiles of any sort, except maybe a towel to sit on. There's going to be an occasional kidnapping attempt or something. And you are deep in cartel territory in Mexico. So this is the third book in the series. In the fourth book, we get to Fantasy Fest and a serial killer. This is actually my final proof copy, so it's got that weird line across the top. Your copy will not have that line, unless you steal this from me, and I'll frown at you if you do. But this is basically the story of a serial killer who is, killing people. And the police have an idea that it's happening before they get to Fantasy Fest, which, if you aren't familiar with Fantasy Fest, it's a Key West made-up holiday that they decided, well, we've got Mardi Gras in the spring, and we got spring break, but we need something to bring in some money in the fall. We'll create a festival. And it's bigger than either of the other two now. Maybe not bigger than spring break. This year it would have been bigger because of COVID. And in any case, the dress code at that show is usually body paint. In this case, serial killers. And the book that I just released, it's so new that I haven't got my copies for sale yet or for resale. This is my final proof. But some of my readers have already gotten their copies and read them and are reviewing them today on Amazon, hopefully. But it's called Deadly Views. And it's what can happen when somebody has some technology, like a drone. And drones can come with cameras, and people have backyards that they think are private. And the internet is a big, scary, dark place where you can find just about anything, maybe even your own backyard. So that's what Deadly Views covers. Again, another murderer, another murder. And that is the whole series so far. Now, the next one in this is what I'm finishing up now. It's called Related Matters, and it covers the first holiday season. The 3 of them are living together uh, in Key West through. And they all have family, and the family begins to wonder, well, what are our kids doing? So it's a very interesting, at times hilarious, fun romp, except for the whole murder and mayhem parts uh, of the holiday season, a year ago holiday season, just pre-COVID. Uh, and then after I get done with that, I will be working on the fourth book in my Fists of Earth series. I also have several series out starting. The first one in a sci-fi historically based series about the Scythians will be coming out actually in a matter of a few weeks, maybe by the end of the month, maybe the first week of February. That series is called Pawns of the Blade. The first book is Emperor's Blade, and the Scythians were a race that existed along with the Persians with Darius and the Greeks and Philip of Macedon and Alexander the Great, and they never really got conquered by anybody. I mean, they lost a few battles here and there, but by and large, they held their own with pretty much everybody in the world around them, and they were spanning across the entire steppes of Asia and Asia Minor, and then they just kind of faded away about 200 BC. They kind of assimilated or got assimilated by other races, and no one can really figure out why. One, they didn't have a written language, and two is they kept a pretty good secret, I guess. But I have my theory on what happened to them, and that will be the basis for Emperor's Blade. And I'm planning on at least 4 or 5 books in that trilogy. Yes, I know what a trilogy is. It's just like my science fiction trilogy. It's 9 parts. And I mainly call it a trilogy because I know it annoys the crap out of a few anal retentive friends of mine. And sometimes you just got to have a weak moment and have fun. But the other thing I'm working on is I have my first romance. I actually wrote a romance, and I hate to say it, but it might be one of my best pieces. And I've got that out with a publisher right now. They're taking a look at it, and I'm hoping it'll come to fruition. If excuse me, if necessary, I'll go ahead and self-publish it. The rest of my books are all available on Amazon, either in physical or Kindle form. If you contact me directly, William Hatfield at Gator.net, you can always get an autographed copy if you need an emergency prezi or you just like having books to look at my signature on them, and get the book that way because I've always got copies of all the books on hand. And that's what I do. I'm retired now, so I'm writing more, and more books will be coming out a lot faster. I've written probably 4 3/4 books since I retired a year and a half ago. And my wife said I'm going to slow that pace down and do more yard work and housework instead. Yeah, I might lose that battle. But in any case, I have my little writer cave, complete with Boris the spider to help me maintain control, and a few of my books. Um, so that's me. I'm William Hatfield. As a writer, if you go on Amazon, type in William Hatfield, 1 or 2 of my books will show up somewhere down that first page, and just click on the name, my name, and it'll take you to my author page, and it's got everything right there. Or you can find me on Facebook under Bill Hatfield. And I look a lot like me in that picture. Fortunately, I'd hate to look like somebody else. But we have fun on my Facebook page, and I'd love to see you there. So that's what I do, and I hope to see some of you at virtually, of course, this year at 2021's Sunshine State Book Festival. It'll be happening starting up in a week or so, and it's online, so the sites, including videos like this, will be available for somewhat longer, I believe. And if nothing else, it'll introduce you to myself and a lot of other fun, very good authors writing over a huge variety of topics and styles and genres. So take a look at my books and check out the Sunshine Book Festival. And if you Google Sunshine Book Festival 2021, it should show up, where you can track it down to its website and find all the links you need there to actually attend. So have a great weekend, and I will see you online, or maybe see you at a show once we've all got our vaccinations and are getting out in the world again. And you have a good day.